Have you ever wondered how a nation built on freedom could slowly become enslaved by its own money men? How the dream that promised prosperity for all turned into a playground for a few? Today I'm telling you the story of 3 betrayals. Moments when Wall Street didn't just gamble with money, it gambled with America itself. When you hear the word betrayal, you probably think of politics or war. But what if I told you the biggest betrayals in American history didn't happen in the battlefield? They happened inside boardrooms, behind mahogany doors, signed in silence and sealed with profit. Let's start with the first betrayal, the one that set the tone for everything that came after. It was 1907. The United States didn't have a central bank yet. Markets were wild, profits huge, risks even bigger. And then, panic. Banks started collapsing one after another. People rushed to withdraw their money, and for a moment, it felt like the entire system was about to crumble. But then one man stepped forward, J.P. Morgan, the titan of Wall Street. He called the bankers to his mansion, locked the doors, and told them, "No one leaves until we save the system." Sounds heroic, right? Like a financial savior stepping in to rescue the country. But here's the twist. It wasn't the system he saved. It was his empire. Morgan used that crisis to consolidate power, to show the government that without Wall Street, America couldn't function. And guess what followed just a few years later? The creation of the Federal Reserve. A central bank, yes, but designed under the guidance of those same powerful men from Wall Street. The public was told it would stabilize the economy, but in truth, it handed control of America's money to private bankers. That was the first betrayal, the moment when money stopped being a tool of the people and became a weapon for the few. When you really think about it, the panic of 1907 didn't destroy the system. It restructured it, and the ones who caused the fire were the first to sell the water. Fast forward to the 1920s. America was booming. Jazz, cars, new wealth everywhere. Wall Street was selling dreams, stock prices were climbing, and average Americans were investing everything they had. The market was the new religion, and brokers were the priests. But deep inside, the same story was playing again. Manipulation, speculation, and greed, just with better suits and faster telegraphs. By 1929, the market was an illusion held together by credit and confidence. When the bubble finally burst, it wasn't just numbers falling, it was lives. Families lost homes, jobs, everything. And while millions stood in soup lines, Wall Street quietly prepared its comeback. That's the second betrayal, because instead of accountability, they got rescued. Big banks merged, the Federal Reserve pumped liquidity, and the same elite that crashed the market started buying assets at pennies on the dollar. The Great Depression wasn't just an economic disaster, it was a transfer of power. We call it a crash, but for the few who planned for it, it was a sale. Here's something most people never realize. The 1929 crash didn't destroy capitalism. It perfected it. It showed how to turn panic into opportunity, how to make money, even from chaos. And every crisis since, from 1987's Black Monday to 2008's meltdown, follows the same pattern. Create risk, extract profit, let the people pay the price. Now, let's move to the third betrayal, the one that broke trust forever. It wasn't about stocks or gold this time. It was about homes, the American dream itself. The year was 2008. You probably remember the headlines: housing market collapse, global recession, too big to fail. But behind those words was a story of deception that started years earlier. Wall Street had found a new gold mine: mortgage-backed securities. In simple words, they bundled home loans into investment packages and sold them around the world. The problem? Many of those loans were given to people who couldn't afford them. Banks didn't care because they'd already sold the risk to someone else. The higher the risk, the higher the return. At least that's what they told investors, and then it all exploded. Families lost homes. Retirements vanished. But again, Wall Street walked away richer. The government bailed them out, trillions were printed, and the message was clear. If you're small, you fail. If you're big, you're saved. That's betrayal number 3. Not because the system collapsed, but because it was designed to. Engineered so the same hands that built the house could burn it down and get paid for the ashes. Think about that for a second. The same banks that sold the bad loans were the ones paid to fix the problem. The same institutions that crashed the economy were later rewarded with record profits. It wasn't failure. It was strategy. And once again, the cost was paid by ordinary Americans, in jobs, savings, and years of struggle. Let that sink in. Every crisis that has reshaped America's economy wasn't an accident. It was a business model. And through each one, 1907, 1929, 2008, the circle stayed the same. Wall Street breaks it, the people suffer, and the system resets stronger for the elite. Now here's the question I want you to think about. If the system rewards those who break it, can it ever truly be fixed? Most people believe corruption comes from politics, but politics is just the shadow. The real decisions, the ones that shape your savings, your rent, your future, are made by people you'll never vote for. Men in suits sitting in glass towers who speak in numbers while the world bleeds in silence, and maybe that's the fourth unspoken betrayal, that we still believe the market serves us, when in truth, we serve it. But there's one thing they can't control: awareness. Because history only repeats when people forget, and right now, we're remembering. Look at what's happening today: inflation, corporate buybacks, interest rates rising while wages freeze. It's the same pattern, just with new tools and new names. Digital money, private equity, algorithmic trading, different weapons, same war. They tell us it's progress, but deep down, you can feel it. It's control. So when I say 3 betrayals, I'm not just talking about history. I'm talking about a cycle, a loop that began over a century ago, still spinning today. And maybe, just maybe, it's time we stop spinning with it. But let me ask you, when the next crisis comes, and it will you be ready? Will you recognize it when the same headlines return, with new faces and the same excuses? Because that's how betrayal works, and it never looks like the enemy. It looks like help. Every empire falls not because of invasion, but because of corruption from within. And America's story is no different. The flag still flies, but the foundation shakes quietly. The real question is, how long before the cracks reach the surface? And here's the truth. Wall Street didn't just break America's economy. It broke its trust. It broke the illusion that hard work and honesty could outplay power and politics. But it also awakened a generation, one that questions, that reads between the lines, that refuses to believe every chart on CNBC. Maybe that's where real change begins. Not in Congress, not in Wall Street, but in awareness. When you see through the illusion, you can't unsee it. When you understand how the game works, you stop playing by their rules. So next time you hear about market volatility, credit tightening, or quantitative easing, remember this: it's not random. It's designed. And the design always points upward, to those who built the game. America was betrayed 3 times, but the story isn't over yet, because the same hands that broke it can't fix it. Only awareness can. Only truth can. And truth, once spoken, spreads faster than fear. So if you've watched till here, you're not just a viewer. You're part of that awakening, because every person who learns the real story weakens the illusion just a little more. This is where we uncover what they hide and question what they tell us. The next time someone says, "Trust the system," you'll know exactly who built it and why it was never meant to serve you.